These are the films that made you think twice about taking that vacation. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 road trip horror movies.
You've got to stay on the main road now, you hear? Stay on the main road!
For this list, we're looking at horror movies that revolve around a group of characters embarking on a road trip. Whether it's cruising down the highway, driving out to the cottage, or setting out on foot, all forms of road trip nightmares are welcome. Number 10, Jeepers Creepers.
What the hell is that thing?
While driving home for spring break through Florida, siblings Trish and Derry have a series of close calls with the driver of a rusty truck after witnessing him toss a body down a pipe.
What the hell is that?
Curious, Derry crawls down the pipe and discovers hundreds of human bodies sewn into the walls of a dark cavern. Trish and her brother then desperately try to get help, but soon become the targets of the mysterious truck driver, who's actually a bloodthirsty creature known simply as the Creeper. Taking inspirations from urban legends like the Jersey Devil and Spring-Heeled Jack, this movie's blend of gothic and slasher elements spawned a new icon in the pantheon of classic monsters. Number 9, Wolf Creek. While you can't always trust when you hear a movie is based on true events, what is true about this slasher flick is that real-life incidents did inspire writer-director Greg McLean's screenplay.
What the bloody hell are you mob doing out here?
In 1996, Australian Ivan Milat was convicted of several murders, including foreign backpackers. And as such, Wolf Creek sees two British tourists and an Australian going cross-country using this economical form of travel.
Thanks again for helping us out.
No worries.
Obviously, it would be great to get going as soon as possible.
No worries.
Unfortunately, Liz, Christy, and Ben fall victim to a crazed psychopath who initially offers to help them during a time of need, but as horror thrillers go, they are subsequently assaulted, tortured, and put through hell. If controversy-raising, realistic violence combined with road trips are your thing, then this movie is for you.
I can tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Number 8, Gerald's Game. This movie adaptation of Stephen King's once thought to be unfilmable novel is a Netflix original that surprised many. Sure, it was directed by Mike Flanagan, who's made a name for himself in the horror genre, but it's also the tale of a woman who finds herself alone and handcuffed to the bed of a secluded lake house following her husband's death by heart attack. Okay, we guess if you count Gerald's corpse, a dog, some inner demons, and another surprise, she's not completely alone, but that's not the point we're trying to make. This psychological horror thriller really messes with your head, and really makes you rethink any plans you might have about having a romantic getaway in a remote location.
It was death you saw. He'll be back tonight, Jesse. And when you're dead, he'll have your wedding ring in his case.
Number 7, An American Werewolf in London. When two American college students go backpacking through northern England, the worst of their problems at first seems to be finding a pub that serves food. However, failing to heed the advice of the slaughtered lamb's patrons to keep clear of the moors comes back to bite them, literally. The two are attacked by a ravenous werewolf that kills Jack and wounds David before being gunned down by the locals. Unfortunately for David, his survival means that he's now cursed to become a werewolf himself when the next full moon rises. Turns out backpacking through the English moors wasn't a good idea after all. Number 6, Hostel.
These girls I met at this one hostel in Slovakia, just outside Bratislava.
Directed by Eli Roth, this entry definitely had people reconsidering if backpacking through Europe was a good idea. Following a group of friends as their European journey takes them to Slovakia, the main characters are lured into staying the night at a hostel with some beautiful women. However, the vacation becomes horrific when the tourists begin to be drugged and kidnapped.
I always wanted to be a surgeon.
The friends are then introduced to a secret organization that allows people to act out their most sadistic and homicidal fantasies on living victims for a price. Infamous for its unrelenting brutality, Hostel is a dark glance into the depths of human depravity.
You know what they got from me? They told me they lined up something real special. I've been waiting for almost a week for this shit. I mean, like, for 50 grand, she better be worth it, you know what I mean?
Number 5. Funny Games. A haunting subversion of horror film tropes, Funny Games emphasizes the terror of a very real monster, the psychopath. While staying at their vacation home near a lake, a family is accosted by 2 young men whose intentions are clearly nefarious. After breaking the father's leg with a golf club, the 2 boys begin a series of twisted games with their 3 victims for their amusement. With no concrete motive given to the boys' malice, the audience can only assume they are simply vicious sadists who enjoy terrorizing, torturing, and murdering innocents. While the road trip aspect is brief, the film will remind you to change the locks on your lake house. Number 4. The Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
You could have dinner with us. You like head cheese. My brother makes it real good.
After driving down to Texas to visit their grandfather's grave with 3 friends, siblings Sally and Franklin decide to visit their family's nearby homestead and end up walking into a nightmare. Following a disturbing experience involving a self-mutilating hitchhiker, the friends run out of gas and venture out to a nearby house in search of fuel.
I think we just picked up Dracula.
Instead, they find a homicidal maniac with a love of sledgehammers and chainsaws, along with his insane family of deranged cannibals. Although nowhere near as gory as its reputation would have you believe, this Tobe Hooper-directed classic serves up the terror in Texas-sized helpings. Number 3. The Evil Dead. 5 college students driving out to an isolated cabin with a Necronomicon in the basement? What could possibly go wrong? After discovering the Sumerian Book of the Dead and playing the recording of an archaeologist reading from it, the 5 friends inadvertently release a malevolent entity that begins to terrorize them.
You will die! Nightmare is before you.
As the demon begins hopping from host to host, only reluctant hero Ash has the courage to fight back against the evil spirit. Despite being as blood-soaked as its sequels, the first film in Sam Raimi's Evil Dead franchise takes a more serious route, which succeeds in amplifying the sheer horror of this road trip to hell. Number 2. The Hills Have Eyes.
Will be French fries, human French fries.
A story about a clash between 2 very different families. The Hills Have Eyes pits an average suburban clan on vacation against a pack of deformed cannibals. After making the familiar error of stopping for gas in an isolated desert, the Carter family ends up having to fight for their lives when the monstrous family of scavengers targets them. Picking up where he left off with The Last House on the Left, Wes Craven brings a gritty realism to his second horror film, which magnifies the visceral nature of its violence. The quintessential mobile home invasion flick, The Hills Have Eyes serves as yet another reminder to choose gas stations wisely.
I come back for you later, girlie.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Cabin in the Woods.
Truth or dare?
Let's go dare.
Just when you think a subgenre has been done to death, a film like this comes along to change all the rules. When a group of college kids drive out to spend a weekend at a remote cabin, it appears that we're in for a familiar story. until it becomes clear that they're the players in an elaborately perverse game orchestrated by underground technicians. Written by Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard, this horror comedy serves as a metafictional satire of horror movie conventions that both celebrates and satirizes what makes them great.
Oh, shit.
A complete rejection of the less is more approach, The Cabin in the Woods is as frightening as it is hilarious. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.